seems to filter through this land of ours and fill a sportsman's dreams. Enjoy what nature holds for us, her bounty never ends. Getting back to basics with the practical sportsman. It's always an adventure, no matter where we go. From a favorite hunting spot to the hottest fishing hole. Outdoor life we all can share with family and friends. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman.
Hi there, come on in. It is Thursday night, June 27th, the year 2002. We have a show coming up for you that has some interesting aspects, eh, Zach?
Yeah, we got Bill Yoder. He's got a new addition to his family, a Bobcat cub.
Oh, I tell you, that's a cute little bugger. We're also gonna, in this hot weather, take a look at a cold bed and breakfast.
So stay tuned. We've got a show for the practical sportsman.
She's just like a kitten, but her claws are a lot stronger. They're going right through my clothes.
Timid little thing?
She can be a little bit timid.
And most people look at this and think it's what?
I think it's a regular barn cat or house cat. But you can tell by her ears, she's got little tufts on the end of her ears. And then all the spots on her belly and her tail. Her tail looks like it's long, but as they grow, their butt and hips kind of come back more, so it gives them more of a bob tail. The tail stays the same.
And how old is this one?
It was born May 9th, so it's about 5 weeks.
A pretty little thing. It does look like a domestic cat.
Yes, it sure does.
Now, will that face change quite a bit?
It'll get more, ruggeder looking, boxier more.
And what about those claws?
Right now they're needle sharp, but we will declaw her and fix her because Bobcat stays in heat 4 to 5 months and they're really cranky.
Now those claws are going to come out?
Right. You can declaw these just like a regular cat, and they can still climb things even with their claws out.
How much does she weigh?
She probably weighs 1.5 pounds right now, maybe 2 at the most.
At 5 weeks?
5 weeks. She's just started eating raw chicken, and they'll be eating the bones for the calcium real soon too. So right now she's getting calcium added to the chicken.
Now what does she have to eat differently than a house cat? I mean, could you just feed her house cat food?
No, I've been doing research on it. If you feed them regular cat food, they need so much calcium they won't be able to walk. They get their bones, they get stiff jointed, and they don't do real good. So you need to be a little hotter in the calcium and protein. That's why they need more white meat and red meat. Which chicken ain't very expensive. You can buy a lot of chicken parts and they can eat the bones and everything.
Now what kind of chicken part do you give her? I mean,
Wings right now.
Wings?
Yep, because the bones are smaller. When she starts eating them, she can crunch them up better. They're very strong like the bear are in their front quarters, so they can climb good and run fast and hold their game down.
And everybody wonders where you got this.
Come from a cat breeder. They raise mountain lions, bobcats, coyotes, everything. They're breeders in Ohio, and they just sell them to zoos and private people.
What do you think, Kim?
She's just like a kitten, but her claws are a lot stronger. They're going right through my clothes, so she definitely needs to be declawed. Very cute.
This one is faded somewhat, but you can still see the spots in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the ears. Still got a little tuff on that. Right here's a little more color.
Huh. So she's going to grow this big, probably.
Yep.
In the coming year, you'll also be able to watch Bobby Joe grow up through our periodic reports on this show, Cat. Man, this is a beautiful pond.
Yes, it is. Beautiful fall day.
Well, any day is beautiful when you're in the middle of a couple hundred acres of wetlands and woods like this. This property is owned by Randy and Lois Lansky, who farm it for trees and timber. They dammed up the stream to create a wetlands, which they share with a variety of wildlife. Not long ago, they finished building a beautiful log-type home, and then they decided to renovate the farmhouse to rent it out to vacationers and overnighters. So who is it that is going to rent this place?
Hikers, backpackers, bird watchers, photographers. We're close to the trailhead for the Huron National Forest and the snowmobiles. Cross-country skiing, we have miles and miles of trails on the property. We have the Asable River close by. We have several lakes, fishing lakes close by.
So, but you're looking at the non-consumptive type of recreationalist. I mean, you're not saying hunters and fishermen.
Well, we have hunters that are already here that have been coming for years. We're going to allow the hikers, bird watchers, that type of people to use the property, utilize it, because that time of year it's not in use, per se.
Oh, so you're looking off-season
Off-season type.
for hunting
Right,
and fishing.
for hunting and fishing.
Now, why do you call it a bed and breakfast?
Because it's what we did in Alaska. They had it. This is called a bed and breakfast. We do serve breakfast. I provide everything for them to do it themselves. All they have to do is just, make their own coffee. Everything's here. Toast, eggs, whatever.
But you don't cook it for them.
Well, I do many times. I have warm bread, or I'll have muffins, or which I have done already. But I don't come down and cook it for them.
So it's the concept of bed and breakfast where at least they don't have to go out and buy all of their own stuff. Some of the basic food is here.
Right.
You gotta be very careful on the state, Fred, in regards when you say that, because we've talked to the local health inspector here for the county, which is Alcona, and he advised us to go the way that we had been accustomed to in Alaska, where they call it a cold B&B. If you start getting into the hands-on cooking type situations, you require a lot of regulations. Everything has to be stainless steel. So we opted not to go that way. The people are allowed to use the facilities, cook for themselves, and that's perfectly fine by the state laws and the health rules and regulations. So that's why we elected not to get into the cooking aspect of it.
Well, that is handy though. I mean, I think having some of the stuff here that you don't have to bring, nothing is a bigger pain than have to go buy salt and pepper and
Exactly.
things like that.
Butter, sugar, coffee, teas, cereals, milk. Everything is here for them. Fruits. I always have a big dish of fruits.
That's kind of an interesting twist. It's a glorified housekeeping cabin, but it's not really housekeeping because you have to bring your own stuff for housekeeping.
Well, all of the linens are provided, all the towels. So basically you just bring yourself.
Now, how does this compare in cost, say with a motel or...
It's probably right in the same line as a motel. Actually, it's a little cheaper when you figure out what is being provided for them, the privacy.
People have told me that they don't like they've stayed at regular B&Bs, which are hands-on, where the family lives there and they eat with someone else. They said they don't like the fact that there's someone staring at them while they're eating their meals. They like this, that they can just come in, everything's there, and do their own thing.
We received a Salmon Chowder Bisque recipe from Susan Morrow, and Susan has sent in some excellent soup recipes, and this is definitely one of them. It's got your regular veggies that go into a chowder. You got your peppers and onions and carrots and celery and potatoes.
Looks like a stew is what it's
Just
gonna
about
be.
it. It is thick enough to be a stew.
No, change that. It looks like a salad now.
Yes, now it does. Going to cook the veggies and chicken broth.
Oh, chicken broth,
Yep,
huh?
gives it just a little bit extra flavor. and of course a little bit of salt and pepper. Now there's an excellent fillet. And
Oh,
see
yeah.
that fat line there? That's what gives it some of the bad taste.
Well, you
And-
know, a lot of people don't know how to handle the greasy, oily fishes like salmon, and it's that brown meat, that belly meat right there that you took off. You want
Right.
to remove that because it's full of oil, and this is a fooler.
Yep.
On the skin side, there's a lateral line that runs down there, and there's on some of the bigger salmon quite a bit of dark meat. I think you're going to show it here in the
Right.
yeah the cross
That's
section.
where the bad taste comes from.
That and that is also the meat that would contain any contaminants, if there were any, would
Right.
undoubtedly be in that dark, oily meat.
Right, and that's what everybody says you should remove.
And that, honestly, it tastes awful.
Yes.
It does. And after you cook it, is no time to remove it because it taints the flavor
Right.
of the rest of it. So you want to take it off before you cook the salmon. In fact, if you find that dark meat along the lateral line of any fish, get rid of it.
Yep, and there's quite a bit of it on this piece. Then you're going to cut the salmon into just regular bite-sized chunks, and then put that into your veggies, and then you're going to make a thickening of flour and water, or flour and milk. And that'll actually just thicken the whole soup up.
And we're going to try this out. Of course, Terry Place, who was our museum manager up at Houghton Lake, hopefully soon to be manager at our new museum in Bath, we're going to have him test this dish.
It still has flavor. It's not being masked by all the other goodies and the spices, and that's something that I've always felt is important. Fish is something you can easily destroy by doing too much to it, and that's probably one of the reasons why I've never made a chowder or a soup with it before. Throwing it on a grill seemed like a good way, or just pan frying it.
But this chowder is something you might try?
Oh, sure.
Because you
This is
always thought
something
that you always thought a chowder would just
Mask the
mush up the flavor?
Yeah, just and overcook it and just turn it into a bunch of little pieces of goo, and I just didn't think that it would be a I didn't think it'd be a good way to cook it.
But now you think.
But now I think this would be great, especially on a nice cold day coming into a hot bowl of the soup. I think it would be great, and it still tastes like fish. It still has a flavor.
We can call this Terry Place's no goose stew.
No goose stew. There we go.
In the meantime, take advantage of this weather. There's some good fishing out there, and I hope you can get outdoors. It's a great place to be. We'll see you right back here next week.
Now, what do you have here? I don't know.
You don't know?
It looked a little bit like a bass to me in the mouth.
Well, I would say the stripes there are like a bluegill. Jack Smith from Ovid was catching bluegill from a farm pond when he landed what he thought was a cross between a bass and a bluegill. That's not true, but do you know what it is? I'll have the answer next week, right here on Public TV.
So she definitely needs to be declawed. Very cute.
This one is faded somewhat, but you can still see the spots in it. You can see the ears. Still got a little tough on that. Right here's a little more color.
So she's going to grow this big, probably.
Yep, she'll be around that size. That's probably a 30-pound cat.
Will she get domesticated?
Oh yeah,
for you?
yeah. Bobby Joe Yoder.